It's my dream to have a business in Mumbai, Bangalore, Kolkata, Delhi, Chennai. But how will I be present at all these places of business at the same time? Let it be. I'll appoint someone who will act on my behalf. He will buy and sell goods for me and enter into contracts for me. Let me do that. Oops. Sorry. I didn't realize that the lecture had already started recording. I was lost in my thoughts. Anyways, do you think it is a good idea to manage everything on our own? It's so stressful, right? So I'm thinking of asking someone else to manage the business for me. He can enter into contracts for me. He can use the money to buy goods for me. Give him some commission. That person is my agent. Let us discuss the last unit of Indian Contract Act, agency. It's a very lengthy unit, so be prepared for a lot of explanation. And we are going to discuss this in detail so that if any question is asked in the exam, you are ready to solve it. Yes? All right. So let's get started. Firstly, I have something for you. Let's understand the concept with my handwritten notes because then it becomes very simple, right? Then we can easily read the theory and understand it. Okay, principal and agent. I don't like that dot. This is better. Do you know something? Earlier in my iPad, I used to use this pointer. Okay, for quite some time I used this. I never explored the line option. My son told me, Mama, what are you using? You're using this pointer. That's not nice, And he shifted me to this. So after that, I think this is my favorite tool from the app that I'm using. So I just love the highlighter and the way it highlights and then vanishes. It's very good for highlighting something without writing anything in the chart. Just I thought I'll share it with you. All right. So let us discuss the concept of agency now. Do you know something? The act does not define agency. It defines in a very basic way. So agency is nothing but the relation between one person and another, wherein the first mentioned person can bring the second mentioned person into contracts with a third party. And we need examples. We don't understand it in this manner. Now, let's say, for example, that I want to start business at various places in India. Now, I can't be present everywhere. So I appoint people who manage the business for me. Ma'am, aren't they managers or, employee? Now, the relation is determined with some rules. Now, is he liable to or is he entitled to enter into contract on my behalf? Can he hold me liable for the contracts? If yes, then he's my agent. I don't give him monthly salary. I give him commission on the goods sold. He's my agent. So, agent is the person who is employed to do an act for another or to represent another in dealing with third party. So he is performing the act. Okay, he is performing the act for the other person, and that other person is the principal. So he is performing act for the other person, and he is representing the other person in dealings with the third party. So let's say that I asked my helper, or I should say my servant, to go and buy groceries for me. Every month he used to go and buy groceries, and at the end of the month, I would go and pay for those grocery to the store owner. That person, my servant, is my agent because he's entering into contract. Whatever he purchased, I am liable to pay. I am the principal person for whom the act is done, or the one who is so represented is the principal. See, I can delegate any authority. Okay, I can delegate any authority except the acts which require personal skill, personal consideration. I can't ask the agent to marry on my behalf. I can't ask the agent to become insolvent on my behalf. So for those acts, I will only have to be involved, right? So I can delegate any authority except the ones which involve personal skill and personal consideration. Agent actually brings the principal into legal relation with others. So can I say that the agent, through his acts, is holding the principal liable. Yes. So in this case, the agent brings the principal into legal relation with others. Now, how will I know whether that person is my agent or not? There are two questions which you need to ask. First, copy this in your notebook. Then we will read those in those relations. Done already? Okay. What is the true test of agency? Like, how will I come to know whether that person is my agent or not? Ask yourself these two questions. Whether the person has the capacity to bind the principal and make him answerable to the third parties. Can the agent bind the principal and make the principal liable to the third party? If yes, then yes, he is my agent. Agent is actually just a connecting link between the principal and the third party. The actual contract is between the principal and the third party. Agent is just a connecting link. So, agent is a connecting link between the principal and the third party. The contract is actually between the principal and third party. Agent is only bringing them together. He is entering into contract, but on behalf of the principal. Whether the person has the capacity to bind the principal, make him answerable to the third party. Does he have the capacity to bind the principal, make him liable to the third party? If yes, then he's our agent. Whether he can establish privity of contract between the principal and the third party. Privity of contract means actually the contract is between the principal and the third party. Agent is just a connecting link. So can he establish a contract between the principal and the third party? Can he make the principal answerable to the third party? If yes, then he's our agent. For doing this work, he will get commission at whatever agreed rate, or if there is nothing agreed, then as per the trade customs. The Indian Contract Act actually doesn't define the word agency. However, section 182 defines principal and agent. Principal and agent are defined. Agency word is not defined. Agent is defined as a person who is employed to do an act for the other or to represent. So, to do an act for another or to represent another in dealing with the third person. So, I am actually doing the act for the other, or I am representing the other person. It means I am causing a contract between the principal and the third party. I am the agent. Person for whom the act is done or the one who is so represented is the principal. Okay, now agency is actually the word used to describe the relation between one person and another, where the first mentioned person brings the second mentioned person. Now, who is this first mentioned person? Agent. Where the first mentioned person brings the second mentioned person, principal, into legal relation with others. Others means third party. Okay. So agency is the relationship between one person and another, where the first mentioned person brings the second mentioned person into relation with others, into legal relation with others. Will all this be asked in the exam? No. The rule of agency is based on the Latin maxim which says, he who acts through an agent is himself acting. What does this mean? Tell me. He who is acting through an agent is actually himself acting. Can I say contracts entered by the agent are as if contracts are entered by the principal? That is why the principal is liable. You can write that interpretation over there. You can write the interpretation. Acts of agent are presumed to be acts of the principal. So acts of the agent are presumed to be act of the principal. It is as if the principal has entered into contract. So does the person have the capacity to bind the principal, make him answerable to the third party? Whether there is a privity of contract between the principal and the third party? If yes, then he's our agent. He's an agent. What are the features of agency? Now, I have a note for that also. This will actually simplify the concept a lot. What are the features of agency? The section numbers that we are going to study are very, very important for exam. Section numbers. Principal is bound by acts of agent. Yes, I agree. Principal is bound by act of agent, has the capacity to bind the principal. Principal is answerable to the third party for acts of agent. Principal is liable to the third party for acts of basic points. Section 138, capacity to appoint an agent. So we are discussing the legal capacity of the principal. Who can appoint an agent? Only a competent person can appoint an agent. Competent means only a major or a person of sound mind can appoint an agent. So can I say principal must be of sound mind? He must be a major person. But who can be appointed as an agent? Section 184. These sections are very important for exam. Okay, all three. Actually, anyone can be appointed as an agent, even minor. Law says that a person, whether he is legally competent or not, whether he has the contractual capacity or not, may become an agent. So even the minor or unsound can be an agent. But ma'am, minor. So will the principal be bound by the acts entered by minor agent? Yes. I'll give you an example. Let's say that X has appointed a minor as his agent. He asked the minor agent to sell a watch, but for not less than 700. Okay. He said, will you sell this watch, but don't sell it for less than 700, at least 700. Minor sold the watch to Y for rupees 400. My question is the sale valid? Is the sale valid? Is it valid? See, we can appoint a minor as agent. So the sale by minor agent is valid. Yes. Sale is valid. Y will become the owner of that watch. But ma'am, he wanted at least 700. The minor agent sold the watch for only 400. What about the loss? You cannot recover from minor agent because nothing can be recovered from minor. He is minor agent. He's a minor. We cannot recover anything from a minor. The loss will be borne by X. So it means if you are appointing minor as an agent, you should be very careful. Because in this case, minor's sale will be valid. But if he sells at a loss, you cannot recover that loss from the minor. So ma'am, why will someone appoint minor as agent? Maybe there are two reasons that I can think of. One is maybe he is ignorant. He doesn't know that if minor commits any mistake, money cannot be recovered from minor. So maybe X is ignorant. Second reason, maybe he is very kind hearted. Maybe he wanted to help the minor agent. So he wanted to help the minor. He said, all right, you want to earn extra pocket money? Sell the goods for me. Maybe, he was just kind hearted. He was ready to bear these consequences. So we don't know the reason. But the bottom line is that sale is valid. Sale is valid. Any person can become an agent. Principal is liable to the third party. He cannot recover any loss from the agent. Consideration section 185. No consideration is necessary to create agency. I need not give any consideration to appoint an agent. The principal says that the agent has accepted my appointment. That is enough consideration for me. An agent says he has appointed me. That is enough consideration for me. So I need not pay anything to appoint an agent. When he sells the goods for me, that time I will give him remuneration, commission. But I need not give him money to be appointed as an agent. Now, when will this help me? X sent vegetables by a truck. The truck met with an accident. The truck driver tried calling X, but he could not get through. Okay, he tried calling X, but couldn't get through. So he had to act on his own. He decided to sell the vegetables in the nearest market at the best available price. Now he tried to contact X and what should I do? I've met with an accident. X was not reachable. So he sold the goods in the nearest market at the best available price. My question is the sale valid? Because see, we had not appointed him as an agent. Okay, we had not asked the truck driver to sell the goods. So we had not appointed him as our agent. So there is no contract. We had not appointed him as agent. There is no consideration also. So no consideration, no contract, na? But ma'am, if we are very rigid, then we will not be able to sell the goods na in the nearest market. So let it be. Let's put it in an exception. See, if we are very rigid, no, there has to be a contract. No, there has to be consideration. If you are very rigid, if you are very firm, such kind of sale will never happen. No? So we are lenient. Let it be. No. Even if there is no contract, even if there is no consideration, the truck driver can still be considered as our agent. Sale is valid. Ma'am, but he sold it at less price. No, can we recover that balance from the truck driver? No. He did that to save you from losses. So in this case, sale is valid and we cannot recover anything from the truck driver. He tried calling you. So then he sold it at whatever best price was available. It's not his fault, no, that he sold at less price. It may happen that he sold at more price. How do you know it is less? But yes, sale is valid. You want to write this? So not insisting upon consideration will help us in such emergency situations. Done writing. Example. Done. Okay. So what are the features of agency? The principal is bound by the act of agent. The principal is liable to the third party. Who can appoint an agent? Only a person who is the age of majority and who is of sound mind. Minor, unsound, they can't appoint an agent. They can be appointed as an agent. Agent is merely a connecting link, okay, between principal and third party. It is immaterial whether or not the agent is competent. Ma'am, how is it that agent can be incompetent? See, students, if a minor is appointed as agent, we can do so because, anyways, principal is liable for the act of agent. So, because principal is liable, we are insisting that principal should be competent because he is going to be liable for the acts of agent. So, agent can be minor, can be major. Principal is liable to the third party. So, even an incompetent person can be an agent, but the principal should be competent because he is liable to the third party. Any person, whether he has the contractual capacity or not, may become an agent. Minor, unsound person can become an agent. I'll highlight in green because you can become. The principal will be liable to the third party for any misconduct, negligence. But he cannot proceed against the agent to recover that amount because he's minor, he's unsound. Same example. Same example. So contract with minor is void ab initio. Sale will be valid, but we can't recover anything. No consideration is required to create agents. And he has accepted my offer to act as agent. That is sufficient consideration for the appointment. So principal appointed the agent, an agent accepted that appointment. That is enough for me. So did you understand the features of agency? Yes, okay. We are going to study till here and then we will stop. Okay, till here. Right now, let's continue. Modes of creating agency. Students, this is very interesting. Section 186 and 187. 186. It mentions the agent's authority can be expressed or implied. Principal may give agent express authority. You are my agent. Or authority may be implied. It is understood. Section 187 defines express and implied. See, pay attention. 186 says that agent's authority may be expressed or implied. It is just saying express authority, implied or possible. 187 defines express and implied authority. Okay. What are the modes of creating agency? So there are different ways in which you can appoint agent and create that relation. Agency by express authority. So I am by words, oral or written, telling you, you are my agent. See, if it is in writing, no, it will be through a power of attorney. POA, power of attorney. So X gave Y through a power of attorney the right to recover rent from various people. So we have given Y the right to recover rent on behalf of X. So we have given him the right to recover rent. We have given him express right. It may be implied, it is understood, it is implied. Implied means it is understood from the conduct or behavior of the parties, action of the parties, circumstances of the case. So words are not used. It is understood from our action. Now this may be agency by estoppel or agency by necessity. We will discuss. So here words are not used. It is understood from our conduct, behavior, circumstances of the case. Then we have agency by operation of law. Automatically, you are considered as agent, like in partnership. A partner is principal as well as agent automatically. This is nothing but mutual agency. Yes, mutual agency. X, Y, Z, they are partners. X purchased goods worth rupees 10,000 from P. What if X is not able to pay? Can we hold Y and Z liable? Yes. So X can bind Y and Z. So he is acting as their. Now, what if Z borrowed 1,000 rupees from A and it's for the business only? If Z is not able to pay, can we recover it from X and Y? So X is bound by acts of Y and Z. He is acting as their principal. So a partner plays double role. Partner is playing double role. He's agent as well as principal automatically. That relation itself makes you agent as well as principal. Agency by ratification. This I will not discuss now. This we will read and then we will understand. There are different modes. You want to write this? Okay. Done. So there are different modes of creating an agency. We have agency by express authority. Section 186 and 187 I had already informed. 186 says that the authority may be expressed or implied. 187 defines express and implied. So what is express authority? When we have given it by words spoken or written. In writing, it is through power of attorney. X is the owner of a building. He has authorized Y to collect rent for him so that you collect rent. It's an express authority. A is in Delhi. He appoints B as a caretaker of his house in Kolkata. B is his agent. He will buy goods, cleaning material, pay rent, electricity. He's agent. Agency is created by express agreement. Implied, it is understood. It is understood. It is understood from the conduct, behavior. Conduct means action, behavior, circumstances. Okay. So it is implied from the conduct, behavior, circumstances. Very nice example. Words are not used. It is understood from our action. X lives in Mumbai. He has appointed Y to manage his shop in Pune. They have not agreed anything. But Y orders goods from suppliers, all in the name of X. He is not ordering for himself. He is paying them out of X's fund with X's knowledge. Now, in this case, X is allowing Y to buy goods, sell goods, pay money, all for X. Y is agent of X. It is understood. He is buying goods for you, selling goods for you, making you liable to the third party. He is your agent. Okay. Y has implied authority from. Now, this may be agency by estoppel or agency by necessity. Implied agency by estoppel. Estoppel, we had discussed this no earlier. Is he actually the agent? Estoppel means he is considered just like an agent. He's not an actual agent because we have not appointed him. He's considered just like the agent. He's agent by estoppel. Let's discuss examples and I'll read the theory and relate it. A allows his servant B to purchase goods on credit from C. Now, what happens is, what happened in this case? A allowed B to purchase goods on credit from C. So he would tell his servant, go buy sugar, rice, etc. Every week, A would go and make the payment. So this went on for some time. B would buy goods on credit. A would make payment. One day, A pays sufficient cash to B. But in spite of that, B purchases goods on credit from C and C did not doubt because that was going on since so many years. B would purchase goods, A would come and pay. So although A gave cash to B, B purchased goods on credit from C and he misappropriated the cash. He kept it with himself. My question is, can C recover money? Can C recover? Yes. B is considered as if he is an agent even for this transaction. He is agent by estoppel. Although he is not an agent for this transaction because we paid him cash. He should not be liable if he pays goods, if he buys goods on credit. But by our words and actions of making the payment, we have only given the impression to C that B is our agent. C can recover because A held out that B was agent on earlier occasion. So he only gave the impression that B is our agent because A would go and pay the money, right? So A gave the impression to C that B is my agent. So here also A will be liable. This is also very interesting. X represents himself to be the agent of Z in the presence of Z. Now, let's create a story. Z wanted to sell a TV, but he knew that he's a very poor salesman. So he asked X, listen X, will you sell that TV for me? X said, okay, I will do that. One day, X was sitting in a meeting with Y. X was in a meeting with Y. He told Y, I am the agent of Z. Do you want to buy this TV? Are Z was sitting there. He didn't correct X. Are who appointed you as agent? He kept quiet. So X represented himself as agent of X represented himself as the agent of Z in the presence of Z. X represented himself as the agent of Z in Z's presence. I thought, he must be agent. Z is also sitting over there. He didn't say anything. He enters into contract. At the time of delivery of the TV, Z told Y, listen, I don't want to sell the TV now. Will he have to? X is not my agent. I had not appointed him only. He's not my agent. Therefore, sale is not valid. He's not my agent. Can he deny? You were sitting there, na? Why didn't you object when X introduced himself as your agent? You didn't object. Now you will be bound by his sale. Sale is valid. When a person, which example should I relate? Second one. When a person A, by his words or action, by paying money every month, every week, whatever, leads third person C to believe that a certain person B was his agent, is his agent. Agency by estoppel is created. Person who induces as such in my example A is estopped. Estopped means stopped or prevented from denying the truth of agency. It means later on he cannot say, no, no, he's not my agent. You had the time, no, to correct. You did not. Your problem. Just ensure that you have written everything in your textbook. This is not very important, but it's there in your module, so we'll read it. Agency may be created when the principal has made a representation. It means he is by words or action, he is saying something. Representation may be expressed or implied. It states that agent has the authority to do an act, although really agent didn't have the authority. Principal must have induced the third party. He led the third party to enter into contract, thinking that he is actually agent. Third person believed that the representation, and he made a contract on the belief of that representation. He thought that representation was true and he entered into contract. Not very important. Agency by necessity important for case-based questions. So you need to learn this. You need to learn this. The same example. Vegetables. Truck met with an accident. Now, students, this agency by necessity actually originated in shipping contract. See, nowadays you have a satellite phone, mobile phone is working on ship. But there was a time in olden days you had no means of communication. Now imagine the captain has realized that the ship is in need of urgent repairs. So he went to the nearest port. Now at every port you will not find the owner's agent to give money for repairs. So he borrowed money and carried out the immediate. There were two holes, water was coming in, so he immediately carried out repairs. That captain is considered as agent of the owner. So the owner is liable to pay A who lent the money at the port. You know, just casually, I want to tell you, my friend, her husband, okay, my friend's husband is in Navy. He's not in merchant Navy, but he's in merchant Navy, but he's not in the merchant Navy. He's not in the, what should I say? He's doing it commercially, okay, for commercial vehicles, not Navy of the government, okay, not that Navy, sir. So she was telling me that there was no means of communicating with her husband only. So they used to send email because that time when they had got married quite some time back, there was no means of communication. Mobiles to have come now. They used to talk via email, and then they started WhatsApp, which was introduced very recently, like 4-5 years back. So you can imagine how difficult it was for us to communicate with the people on ship. So if they had to act in an emergency, so they were considered as agents of the owner. That is the origin. Captain becomes agent by necessity. But there are conditions to be satisfied. There must be actual and definite commercial necessity. What is the meaning of commercial? See, if we don't act, okay, if we don't act, Owner's profit may reduce, or owner may suffer loss. So that was a commercial necessity. We had to act. Otherwise, either his profit will reduce or he will suffer loss. There was a commercial necessity. It was impossible to communicate with the principal and obtain his consent. We tried calling him, he was not reachable. Agent acted in good faith for the benefit of the principal. He adopted the most reasonable and practicable course of action. You can also say he acted like a prudent man, prudent person, logical person. Anyone in his position would have acted in the same manner. उसकी जगह कोई और होता तो वो भी यही करता. So these four are to be satisfied. There is an actual and definite commercial necessity. It is impossible to communicate with the principal and obtain his instructions. He acted in good faith for the benefit of the principal, and the agent adopted the most reasonable and practicable course of action. उसकी जगह में कोई और होता तो वो भी यही करता. He acted like a prudent man. Agency is valid. Agency by operation of law, I discussed that partner is principal as well as agent. Let's stop for the time being. We'll cover ratification in the next session. I don't want to burden you because yes, students, sometimes when you are studying contract act for like 7-8 units, it becomes monotonous. How much ever I try, it's quite technical at the end of the day. I don't want to give you any explanation. Let's meet next time. Okay, I'll see you next lecture.